guys.
Hey,
How are you?
we're good.
Welcome back to our very abbreviated NFL version tonight. Folks will notice that we are running on the light side. And we had talked about not actually doing tonight's show out of respect for the situation, but we didn't want to do so without at least acknowledging the situation and just our feelings on it. We didn't want to be respectful and be a no-show, and didn't want to just kind of leave everybody hanging, but um, just kind of really convey our thoughts and our feelings around the situation, and that we too are also affected, because I'm pretty sure all three of us are watching that game at the same time without having to get into the details. My heart goes out to the player, the fans, everyone who was there that night, even within our own Discord. Definitely, we had a palpable emotion running through all of us. So I just really wanted to make sure that we were diligent in making sure that everybody understood the situation with us, and that we weren't just, I don't know, I feel like it would have been a letdown not to say anything at all. And kind of just not have the show at all. So yeah, that's kind of why we're here, just out of respect, to say, you know what, we're not going to sit here and talk about highs and lows. We're not going to just rehash. We're just going to say, hey, we're aware, our hearts are involved. There's a lot of emotions running high, and the situation is still very dire. So we're just gonna, for tonight, keep it easy breezy and talk about maybe some other objectives in the long term. Gentlemen, any thoughts that you want to put out?
Shout out to the way that the players on both sides acted, the coaches, everybody like that. I mean, I feel like that's really rough, even especially as a player going through, like, that's your brother. When you're on a football team, when you're on a sports team, that becomes your family, and sometimes those are the people that become closest to you. So shout out to them players, both teams, both coaches, staff, people that were in attendance, people watching the game. Shout out to everybody. Especially big shout out for him, hoping that he's doing all right, getting better. So I would just say huge shout out to everybody for handling it in a way that was professional and very, very nice and generous to each other. Most certainly.
100%. Jay?
I just think that what they did was it was heartwarming. Like, just seeing how the players were really concerned and showed a lot of care, and not only the team that plays with him, but the opposite team as well.
Exactly. Yep.
They did a really great job. The head coach for the Bengals stuck around. He went to the hospital, checked in on them. I mean, a really great job. Much respect to both sides of the football teams, and I'm really glad how they handled it. Very professional on both ends. So
I also want to shout out a certain player. Everybody knows that I talk a lot about Mr. Joe Burrow, but after the players were sent back to the locker rooms, he gathered up the team captains of the football team, the Cincinnati Bengals, and brought them over, making sure that all the players of the Bills were okay, and everybody checking on them, their coaches, their players, their staff. I thought that was a very honorable act. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I think that was amazing, and I'm glad he did it.
I read about that. I mean, he didn't have to do that. He could have stayed with his team, because obviously they were affected too. But to show that level of forethought and maturity to stand up and really say, hey, everything else aside, at the end of the day, we're human beings, and we know how harsh this sport is. I mean, it is a violent sport. Things happen. So to show that kind of level of humanity on his part, yeah, A+ to Joe Burrow's way to handle it like a professional. I mean, if you know nothing at all about Joe Burrows, know that, he's clearly a humanitarian at heart, and
good dude.
Felt this just as much as everyone else did. So yeah, really can't say enough about how well those players on both sides of the stadium just really rallied, and even the fans, everybody was very respectful.
Exactly. I mean, they even came together. If I don't know if y'all saw this, but they came together at the hospital outside where he was,
Mhm.
where he is, and they were together in a big circle, just standing together, unifying
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
for the cause.
Yep, and they were
Um,
very respectful even at the hospital. They stayed out of the way. They stayed across the street, made sure everybody who needed to get access in
Exactly.
and out of the hospital that they did that. So
Another
so
thing,
moving.
I would like to say though, if I can, I know I'm taking the floor here a lot. I'm sorry, guys.
Do what you
But
gotta do.
if you see this, bro, T. Higgins, that was not your fault. You did not purposely injure him or hurt him in any
Oh yeah,
way.
no, not at all.
It's just a freak accident that unfortunately happened. It really sucks, but do not take this blame onto yourself.
I don't think anybody blames him or should blame him, right? I mean, like
There
that's
has
the
been some
nature of the
people
beast.
unfortunately, on social media
That's
that have been throwing slanderous and unfortunate, terrible comments in on his Twitter and on his Instagram,
and that's just ridiculous. Like
blaming him for all the,
that's
oh, well,
ridiculous.
you did this, you did that. It's your fault. And they were even blaming the Bengals for it. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's
ridiculous.
but just know. I mean, I just know it wasn't your fault, man.
Yep. Looking ahead for us though, you're not really sure how this is going to play out in the end
No,
for
things
next
gonna know.
week. Yeah, I mean, how could you return to that field? So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
So
Sooner or later, there's going to be something. We're not going to have an indefinite. The season will end at some point.
absolutely.
But looking beyond that, and moving on to lighter conversation, one of the things we had talked about was looking at basketball as a next foray for us. As content creators, I feel like we've done something really, unique for us, right? In terms of having a sports cast, especially with our cast of characters and each bringing our own unique vantage point to the room. So, yeah. Jay, are you in for basketball and eventually baseball? What are your thoughts on this?
Baseball.
I think we should just do a sports podcast all around, like whatever we can cover. I'm in for
we
it.
could always do a kind of a sports news podcast, if you know what I'm saying. Highlights of sports. You know what I'm saying?
I really have enjoyed the way we've run this format though.
So it highlights, because it's going to be a little tricky to have a week by week NBA podcast, because so much happens inside the NBA. Like,
yeah,
he's right. The big difference between the NFL and the NBA is that there's probably like 20 games in 1 week for the NBA.
Yeah.
And then like,
well, so what is there any way we can simplify the NBA? I mean, I know there's like, what is that specific week? Like wherever, like we make that our focus. Like when everybody does a bracket.
Like the NBA, just focus on the NBA playoffs, honestly.
I mean, maybe that's
because there's
go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna say there's about 105 games, something like that.
They condensed it down recently. I thought they condensed it down for sake of.
Did they condense it? Oh, I haven't.
I think they condensed it down for sake of COVID.
Okay. Well, I know that they had a lot of games, but if they don't have that many games,
but
yeah, I was thinking about like, I don't know, but yeah, I know that they had a lot of games. So I mean, however y'all want to run it, I just know that there's a lot of games in a week.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hard part. We gotta still sit down and figure out how we analyze. We can't. I don't know if we can sit here and go through 20 games in 1.5 hours, but
well, maybe that's okay. So maybe what we do is we put something on the board and say, all right, let's do fan favorites. So maybe one of our first shows would be centered on connecting with the audience and saying, who do you want to see us cover? What is our audience's, say, like top 10 teams? And if we can kind of highlight those top 10 teams, that's where we focus our attention. Yeah. I got you, Mr. Celtics over there. But I'm saying,
Hey, hey,
like,
don't you support the Celtics too? Because of the contract.
well, maybe I have to do the Toronto Blue Jays so that we're all repping someone different. I don't know. I'm just saying. Oh, he looks hurt. Jay, help. But like, Jay, you're a Lakers fan, right?
I am.
So, I think that there's some way we can dial into what our favorite teams are. And then again, if we know who our most ardent supporters are, we cover their
Gotcha.
teams as well.
So when we talk about MLB, she's a
everybody.
Toronto Blue Jays fan. We know that for sure now.
Okay, well, whatever.
When we talk about baseball, she's a Toronto Blue Jays fan. Official.
Anywho, you know what I'm saying.
Listen, don't make me do it again. I will. I don't want to do it again.
Orioles.
Pull that out, Yankees hat out again. I don't want to.
If you
Whatever.
pull out that Yankees hat, you know where I'm going.
I'm out. Are you out?
Champions, baby.
Johnny, you're going to leave
Champions.
me?
I'm out.
gonna leave me?
Yankees. Just kidding. I'll suffer through just
I'm
like I
shocked.
suffer through the
Oh, I'm
Packers.
appalled.
It's fine.
I'm appalled by this. I am appalled.
Yeah.
I'm going to send Shiny this right here. I got my other one in there.
No, I want the other one. I want the other style.
Oh,
There's a
you talking
different
about
emblem on
the flat brim, or are you talking about a different design?
The different design.
What kind of design do you want?
Although I think I'd look pretty good with a flat.
I think so too.
I think flat is my style.
I think it is
Tell you
your
what,
style.
like
I can foresee the future, and I know
She get that little
that
flat
brim
cap.
will look.
Yeah, I'm getting that flat cap action going.
Yeah.
The right logo.
I'll get you my black.
Yeah.
You like black? The color black?
Yeah, maybe. I don't
Hey,
know.
Everybody looks good in black. Just saying.
I like green. I like the green.
So
Green is a go.
so I know to get Shiny something Bengals out here, y'all in chat, and something
A black shirt is very slimming, so
Can't go wrong
Really?
in black. I keep saying
Really?
that.
Do you know, I still never found out what happened to my Vikings t-shirt. Like that thing has literally it's gone. I've turned my house upside down. I don't know where that thing went.
I'm
It's
not
So I
gone.
tell you.
unintentionally still repped the Bengals today, unintentionally. Not even thinking that this was gonna, happen. Honestly,
Well, yeah, I mean, I would have put my Bengals shirt on but this was all kind of we flung it together because I was insistent that we not just go on avoidance maneuvers, and I didn't want to leave people hanging. I wanted to have a positive message out there that we acknowledge the event.
absolutely.
That even within our own discords, we acknowledged the event, and I don't know, I kind of feel like it was therapy the way, we obviously the excitement level went down and people were very concerned. I fired up the puzzle thing, so we could all have something to do and take our minds off of it,
Mm-hmm.
and really kind of address it in a way that was, I don't know, not leaving everybody out into their own emotions. Like we kind of coupled together. Like we rallied together as a Discord to make sure all of us were okay.
Tough to
You guys are amazing, by the way.
add on to it. You know what I mean?
You're
Like,
amazing.
it's tough to even.
Yeah,
I can't add anything else to say about it anymore. So
yeah, there isn't anything to add to it other than, check your friends, check your families, just make sure everybody's okay. I mean, it's a big deal and everybody's aware of it. So just make sure everybody's okay and processing. No
Definitely.
one's just in their head about it.
I swear I tell people this stuff like this teaches you to be grateful for what the life you have. I mean, because you never know, any moment
Yeah,
that can be taken from you.
absolutely.
Life is very, very precious, and you can go in any time. So it's just best to live the best life that you can,
Exactly.
and always check in on your friends, and just Just be
And,
there.
I heard Jay
Nurture
talking
those
about it. He goes to
relationships.
streaming too. I swear, I feel like it helps. You see your buddy online saying, "Hey," saying, "What's up?" I
Yeah.
think that helps too.
Yeah, I mean, really, you need to. Everybody needs to kind of lean into each other, not lean away and pull away, and that's what we did as a group, as a Discord, and I'm proud of the way we handled that internally.
We really embraced what we have all preached for months.
Mm-hmm.
That togetherness. We really, I feel like honestly that was a moment where we were able to show that that's not just words.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
But I appreciate you guys, your willingness to come out here with me and just kind of acknowledge the moment and say, hey, y'all, we're still here. We're not shying away from the conversation. We're just going to take a brief hiatus. Let the situation be what it is and be respectful as much as we can about it. And just take a moment to say we're here. We're not just running away and leaving people disconnected. We hear you, we see you, we feel you, we're right there with you. And kind of just leave you with a positive message that we're going to keep going, whether it's NFL, MLB, NBA. We're going to keep looking for ways to entertain you with sports talk, and have fun, and really just try and highlight the positives, but recognize the negatives when they happen.
Yes. Well said.
Definitely.
Well said, Shiny and Radical. You guys are great.
And that's all I really wanted to say. I mean, so if you guys have anything else.
Like I said, just be grateful for what you have, the people you have around you. And be grateful for life. Because I know, I swear I say it every day that it's a blessing. You wake up every day, it's a blessing. You know what I mean? It's you were gifted that. Despite all, we're not going into the nitty gritty of the conversation, but beside all that, you're gifted that one extra day. So be glad you have it. That's all I'll say. And, like I said, players, don't feel like you did anything wrong. If you see this, you did not do nothing wrong. It was not your fault. You did amazing, honorable acts, and you showed how real people should be. Not just
true
athletes, but real people.
True sportsmanship.
True sportsmanship. You showed what it is to be a real person, and you showed a person instead of an athlete. So I know nowadays they're very stereotypical. Oh, athletes, aren't, they're all about themselves. But clearly, Bills players, Bengals players, you showed that there's class in this world.
100%.
And you showed that people are people, that players are also people. That's all I'll say.
Jay, I feel like you've got some thoughts percolating in there. I mean, like, I know sometimes you get quiet and you get in your thoughts and your feels. I feel like you've got stuff underneath that percolating on you on this.
Yeah, I mean, I was just, letting the conversations go on. I wanted to say that, life can't it can be a precious thing, we all only have one life and you can't take it back. I feel like a lot of people take life for granted. A lot of people tend to forget to check in on their friends. A lot of people are always going through something, and a lot of people tend to forget that. A lot of people forget that we all have our own things that we go through mentally, and it's okay to check in. It's okay to and I have this issue too. I know I have it bad communicating. I know a lot of people come to me when they need to vent, and I don't do the same thing. And people tell me day in and day out, I need to start going to them. It's just tough when you're used to being a leader and being a friend and being a brother to everybody. And I need to work on that. And I just, I would like to preach that to everybody, everybody out there. If you guys were just to vent to your people without thinking that you are a bother or anything like that. Just, just don't feel that way, and just reach out to somebody. If you really need to talk to somebody, reach out.
Again,
You're not alone.
Togetherness, man.
And that counts
That's
for
what we all
you. You, Jay, you need to do that more.
Who needs to do that more?
Jay.
I admit it.
I know.
Sorry.
I know.
And I just.
Sorry, what? I didn't do anything.
And I also would like to say
guilty,
too.
so it's okay.
With that being said, you never know when somebody's time is up. So, I try to tell people,
Agreed.
if you love somebody, don't live a life full of anger at that person. It's a new year. It's a new year and a new beginning for all of us. We can all change for the better.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Zero the Hero, I hear what you're saying, although I think he was just misunderstood. I mean,
listen, y'all. If on that note,
his follow-up Twitter, his follow-up Twitter made it clear what he was trying to say. I think he just executed it poorly.
If you read his previous 2 tweets, what he's saying in his last tweet that everybody's talking about, he's saying that the game is irrelevant at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because before he's like, he's never seen anything in this history of the league that he's watched. No, this isn't precedent that this has happened to a player.
Yeah,
ever.
but here's the thing. You know what, Mr. Zero the Hero, I don't know Skip's entire persona that he maintains both publicly and on Twitter. So I'm just listen.
I'm not
for lack of a better term, I'm going to say if he acts like a pompous fool all the time and runs his mouth, then sure, maybe then it's questionable. But if you look at the totality of his content, does it mirror in line with him being shallow, self-serving, and unsympathetic? And I would find it hard to believe that anybody is unsympathetic in that situation, because it was clear to anybody who was there, anybody who was watching,
yes,
the severity of the situation. So I would be hard pressed to believe that man wouldn't understand what was happening at that time, especially working in professional sports. So I think he just communicated very poorly.
Agreed.
What he was trying to say, and he tried to rectify it after the fact. Can we prove that? Will we ever know? Probably not. But I think he does understand the severity. If he didn't before, he sure as heck does now, and understands what a foolish and short-sighted statement he made.
Yeah, so, it probably just shouldn't have been. It's one of those claims that probably should have just been left. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He should have just never tweeted.
He should have just never tweeted that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if you had that thought, then that's cool. You know what I mean? But it's not my place to sit here and tell you, you can't think what you think. But I feel like that was definitely, That was definitely a terrible time to tweet that, for sure.
I think people need a place to direct their anger, right? Like, some people are so caught up in their emotions that rather than feeling sad and frightened and scared and upset, they translate for them into anger, and they need someone to direct it to. And he was an easy target because his statement was, from my perspective, misunderstood. And that's just my opinion of the situation. Again, I don't know his history of tweets, if he comes off purposefully shallow and insensitive or trying to, create drama. Those people who intentionally kind of drop little fireballs to get followers and whatever. And I don't know if that's what he does. Yeah. I don't know if he's a pot stirrer by nature, if that's his brand.
Yes and no.
So, but still, everybody, even the people in our Discord, the average Joe, was able to clearly feel the situation. And I would be hard pressed that a professional in the sports industry wouldn't understand the severity of what's happening right now, because you're talking about the most violent sport that we
Yep.
have.
That's correct.
So he would have to be either the dumbest person going or just a basic idiot. And I find both of those options just unbelievable.
I think
Because anybody who, I mean, you could, like, kids understood
Mhm.
that something bad was
Yes.
happening.
Yes. With
So,
him,
yeah.
a lot of things that he says gets misunderstood, and he says a lot of really, like, some people might say debatably dumb statements, even on TV. So
Yeah.
I can understand, I seen where
Short-sighted,
he was
maybe.
where I seen both sides. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I see why people would be mad at him for what he said, because the way he worded it, yeah, it did sound wrong. You know what I mean? But again, I also see the side where he's pretty much just saying that the game is irrelevant at this point. That you need to, worry more about the player's safety than the game itself. It doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
before then, he was even talking about how the game should have continued. So I mean,
Yeah. I mean, and
that
he's an easy target. He's an easy
misinterpreted it.
target if he's got that kind of a
He kind of put it on
MO.
himself.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got that kind of an MO, then he brought it on himself. But I think everybody who's a grown adult can realize that situation for what it is. It was a short-sighted comment. He spoke incorrectly. He didn't think his actions through. But I think as an individual, as a person, he 100% understands the severity of the situation.
Absolutely. And I don't know the words that he said this morning on his show. I don't know anything about that. So if anybody
Yeah,
does,
I didn't even watch it.
but
I saw
I
a little
know
bit him saying that they weren't sure if they were going to run it or not, but I think they did, but I didn't watch it.
that he was on the air this morning at 9 a.m. I think. I
Mhm.
didn't watch it, like I said, but they said he commented on it, talked about it, pretty much
Mhm.
apologized to everybody,
Yeah.
including Mr. Hamlin.
Yeah, which to me means he recognizes that he was misunderstood, or he may have pressed when he shouldn't have pressed, short-sighted,
Yeah, he pretty much
didn't
admitted,
choose his words.
I can see how everybody misunderstood my statement, but
Yeah.
and I'm sorry for that, but it was misunderstood.
Mhm.
Which, there's both sides again on that statement too. There's even both sides. People are gonna be like, okay, you're just trying to cover your ass, and then there's people who's like, okay, I believe you. You know what I mean?
Now, do you guys think they'll treat this like a tie? Like the way they did that one game? Who was it? The Giants and
The Commanders.
was it? Yeah, I think it was them that they tied, and they just
Well,
brought him
see,
back
so the
later.
difference between that game and this game, that game went 4 quarters of football, well, plus the overtime, so 5 quarters of football, and finished. This game was nearly barely began.
So do you think they would just start like a new game with
No.
the same,
If
like,
they resume the game, they'll resume it from the exact point in time where the
yeah,
score is the
that's what I'm
same,
saying.
the time on the clock is the same.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
So if they do, I don't know. I've
never seen
experienced
anything
this
like
myself.
it.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I imagine both teams coming back to that same field could be traumatic in and of itself.
and it's the same game. That's why I'm saying, don't make these two teams play again. If they have to play in the playoffs, they have to play in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Good.
But even then, I consider if they play in the playoffs whenever the playoffs happen, if it does, have it on a neutral ground.
Yeah, I think
So
that's
that both
better
teams
for
don't have to
both.
worry about, oh, God, this Bills player
Yeah.
got hurt. What's up, Hill
Hey,
House?
House. And
But yeah,
Mr.
I would
Hero
say
the
have
Hero,
that game
thank
on a
you for
neutral ground.
those 1,000 biddies for a radical. He was overjoyed.
Definitely
And
was.
he was very patient. He didn't interrupt Big J. I was waiting for it. I could see him chomping at the bit, getting ready to interrupt Jay. And I was like, he better not do it.
Like,
you had the floor. You had your
shout out
chance.
Mr. Zero the Hero.
It was Big J's turn to say what he needed to say. Make sure
Something
appreciate
big happens. You have to acknowledge it, Shiny Hero.
I know I did. Time and place, though, Big J
That's true.
deserves his space too.
That's true.
I appreciate that.
But yeah. Just overall,
Mm-hmm.
got to be careful with what you say, especially on social media.
Exactly.
The fun thing about social media is anything you can say, one, can backfire on you. Two, can be misinterpreted.
And then there's my
Oh yeah.
content.
And there's Shiny Heroes content. Which, by the way,
And
if
then
you do
there's my
exclamation
Twitter.
mark Shiny Twitter in my chat on Twitch, you can get her Twitter
Yeah,
link and go and
you've
follow her
seen
on
my
Twitter.
my
right now.
Twitter, right? I don't know how
Which one?
often you look at my Twitter. No,
I
like
usually
my mid-December tweets about book recommendations were pretty legendary.
Thank you, Drew Lord. Anybody in chat on my side, go and follow Shiny Hero on Twitter right now.
let's go.
Look for the book
Go follow her. Drop the
recommendations.
follow.
They'll change your life.
Hey, chat. I gotta tell you a secret. She's gonna kill me for this. She's
Oh.
2 followers away from 100 on Twitter.
I am. Oh.
Correct. You're at 98 followers.
It's my little ghost Twitter. Nobody even does Twitter anymore. I just like it because it's like that one zinger shot you can throw out there.
What do you mean nobody does Twitter?
I feel
Listen,
like that's
I'm
that's I'm gonna say what the youngsters say. That's cap, Miss Shiny Hero. People still do Twitter.
I feel like, Shiny's the
some
most
do.
active one on Twitter out of all 3 of us.
You know, that may be true, but I do know I do more than you.
Me, probably. I don't post anything except for I retweet Bengals posts, and I did, however, which I will highly recommend everybody do this just for the sake. If you look at my Twitter picture, my new Twitter profile picture, it says it's in the NFL's picture for DeMar. I highly recommend everybody change it until you find news about him.
Oh, nice.
Do that. Because I change all my social media except for my Twitch logo to his picture, and it says "Pray for DeMar." So, anybody in chat want to do that? If you do want to, go for it. If you don't, then I don't hold nothing against you. But that's what I am doing.
Did you?
It's a good recommendation.
And anybody who's got a little extra cash, did you hear about his toy drive? His initial goal was $2,500. This morning it was at 3 million. By this afternoon it was at 4 million.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
absolutely, that as well.
That's amazing.
I intend on for at least until we hear what he's doing well. I intend on making a command in my channel to have it put in out of respect. And
DeMar's
if anybody wants
charity.
to, it'll be there whenever you would like.
Yeah. I mean, people
Oh.
really going out of their way to show him and his family love. It's been something.
And that'll be around on my Twitch as well. I'll put something out on my Twitter about it. But I highly recommend you do that. Just out of sign of respect, nothing, religious of that matter or anything. Just out of sign of respect for that man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really didn't have too much more than that. I mean, I highlighted, just wanting to bring to the table that we understood what was happening. We're not going to do a broadcast like we would normally, but neither are we just going to abandon ship either. We want to just let people know that we're still here. We're just going to postpone. Do you guys think we'll be doing an extended show next go around? Because we're going to have to double up on coverage.
Honestly, I think it depends on what the NFL says the rest of the week.
Because we still have a full week of games that we just had to cover at some point.
The NFL, they might push back this week.
Mm-hmm.
They might push back the playoffs. We don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
They might make the Bengals play again against the Bills.
Or they might just cancel that whole game and let the.
I think they cancel it. I think entirely, honestly, they cancel the rest of the game. I've been kind of only controversial thing that people really kind of think is weird with me is that I think that you should just give the team the dub that got the most points in the game and go call it even.
I mean, if it was the third quarter, maybe, but I mean, you're barely into the first quarter.
Biased since it's coming from me. And the Bengals were up 7-3, so
yeah, you're biased.
Oh, whatever. I'm not biased.
Honestly, I would just give them the draw.
Yeah,
and just call it a day.
See, at this point, listen, that's
I agree with you, Jay.
At this point,
come on, right?
Playoff standing or a man's life.
Well, yeah, that's what I think. That's what we're all saying. The same thing, like let's just.
Well, regardless of
everybody goes forward.
regardless of the outcome, you're caring more for this man than you are for the game.
Yeah.
Regardless whether they give the Bengals the win or they give a tie, a draw, or they close the game and neither team gets a win or loss, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, you're caring for the man, and I would like to hope so that every person is doing that and standing there, and they're not out there on Twitter, saying the Bengals should have won that game. Oh my God, you know what I mean? They would have won, or the Bills would have won, vice versa. You know what I mean?
Right.
Come
Yeah,
on.
I don't
Like,
know.
let's
I
not do
feel
that.
like nobody. Yeah, I would find that
There
hard
probably
to
is
believe.
people out there. There probably is.
There may be, but I mean, like, listen, if you stop to take a minute and just understand how palpable that moment was, I think it might just take some people a little bit longer to understand just
because there was people out there.
Like how unique this situation is, both in terms of its intensity, its radius of effect.
Mhm.
And it may not be readily apparent to some more than others, and some it might just take a couple days to sink in. And I think that those same people may just be in denial right now, because admitting the truth of just how bad that is really just kind of makes the frailty of life that much more succinct. And some people aren't ready to understand that or, recognize that fact. So it's much easier to go into a different, more superficial mode and sit there and say, should it be this and should be that, blah, 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 because that's a safer space emotionally to be in than getting down into the nitty gritty of the severity and what's happening, and everything that cause and effect is going to go forth from here.
Right.
So, well,
go ahead.
So that's really all. I mean, I'm trying to be understanding, and I'm not trying to be dismissive of people acting badly, but I think you also have to take a look at what's driving that. And, some people are a little bit more fragile than I think they themselves realize. And so instead of dealing with the effect, they go into a default safety mode, which is say stupid stuff.
Okay, that's fair enough. Completely. No, I don't think any accusation should be thrown against anybody for anything that was said. I mean, I think everybody. I don't care who you are. Skip Bayless, if you're Smith, Stephen A. Smith, whoever you are, Shannon Sharp. Everybody has emotions, man.
Yeah.
Everybody. I guarantee everybody that watched that game for even a second felt emotional. Even anybody who isn't into football like that heard about the situation on internet, Twitter, news, whatever. I feel like everybody has emotions towards that moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even want to watch the play where he gets the ball and he literally stands up and falls. No, I don't even want to watch that.
Let's not even talk about it. We know what happened.
I want to watch that play.
Don't want to talk about it. We know what happened. Just wait to see what happens from this point forward, and we all.
But I think I'll just say, end it with saying, like, I think the NFL should just push the week back.
At least, yeah.
Give the players like a week to just
process,
semi-chill, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
they got to process. Get with counselors, talk about it.
Because now they're expected to go to practice tomorrow. After 2 days of dealing with this. The stress from this and the anxiety and the pain and the sadness. They're expected to go to practice tomorrow and be ready for a game on Sunday. Almost a week after this happened.
Yeah.
No, I don't expect anybody to be ready. And that's why I said this is going to leave a stain on both these teams for the rest of the year. If not longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to leave something under there. Deep down. But anyway, that's all I get.
Mm-hmm.
I can go on and on, but cut me off.
I'm cutting you off.
Wow.
All right. Well, it's 8:00. I didn't want to take up too much of anybody's time. Jay, any final thoughts from you? I mean, we've heard a lot from Radical.
I just, prayers for Mr. Hamlin and his family, speedy recovery. And, I just want to say that I really liked how everybody just united, no matter what team they were on, and just, seeing all the love. And, I was on Facebook and I was just seeing everybody just really, showing a lot of love and care for that. And it touches my heart, when you see a lot of people showing a lot of love, it tells you that there's still good people out there. And that's what
Yeah.
means a lot to me when there's a lot of good people out there and they're showing a lot of love and concern for people like that. That's what makes my heart beat. That's what makes me do what I do. So I appreciate all of that. Like I love seeing love being spread around.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I mean, the fact that we were all leaning into each other, that we didn't, isolate. I mean, exactly what we got to do, and I hope everyone else who's watching does that same exact thing. On that note, I was going to close it out, and I'm gonna take over and raid to It's Caitlin 97. Playing, what is she playing? Fortnite. Very popular game. Anything else we need to caption? I'm looking forward to more in the future, especially as we go into the next season and figuring out how we're going to handle 100+ games, or just focusing in on our favorites and maybe some of our ardent supporters' favorite basketball teams. Right?
Oh yeah. We can, I feel like I can say this real quick. I think we could do a poll, maybe ask them, like, majority of our people what they think and majority
I like
rules, and we'll go from there. And
I
then
like that a lot.
we'll put things together of like how we want to do our shows, like in the near future, like if we want to do all of them together or do we want to do them separate, or there's so many things that we can do with this, and I'm really excited about it. So
Yeah, maybe we even rotate in people who are ardent basketball fans to kind of share their thoughts on maybe how their teams did or something like that. Make it
that would
more
be a great idea,
make
Shiny.
it more integrated with our audience.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I just want to say thanks everybody who sees this, watches us, loves us, supports us. We love you too, and couldn't do it without you. I see Radical has set up my raid, so I'm going to let that play itself out. Or if you're ready, Radical, pull the trigger on that and let's go.
Y'all have a great night.
Yeah, you too. All right, we're out. Osty Wasty, love to see you. Spades, love that. Yeah, you missed it, but that's all right. We love you anyway. Terry, love you too. Even though you didn't say hi to me and I'm feeling a little abandoned, that's fine.
Much love to all. Much love to all.
Bill House, see you.